Good evening, everybody. Professor Ayorinde welcoming you to another Zoom session. The topic for today, how to use Zoom to create classroom experience. So for today's session, we are going to discuss some of the ways in which you can use the Zoom platform to deliver online lectures to your students live so that you and your student will have a session experience similar to those of a face-to-face classroom sessions. Of course, my first advice to those of you teaching online is that you must be in the virtual classroom at least 30 minutes before your students come into the session. So this will allow you to prepare for the online session. Now, many of you already know that one of the most important features in Zoom is the capacity to share content with your students while teaching online. Upon entering the Zoom classroom, the first thing you see is the control panel right here. And on the control panel, you will see a green rectangular icon that says Share Screen. In order for you to give your lecture, you need to be able to share your screen with your students. So the first thing you do, click on the Share Screen icon, and that will take you to another window, which is this window here, right here. And you can see on this window, there are various items you could share with your students. By the way, before you actually start sharing or start clicking the share screen icon, you want to be sure that all of the items you want to share with your students are open. For example, if you wish to share the PowerPoint presentation, make sure it is open. If you want to share some video on the internet, make sure it is open. Any document you want to share with your students must be open before you click on the share screen icon. Okay, so taking a look at the screen here, there are various possibilities you could share with your students. For example, you could share your desktop with your student. You could share the whiteboard with your student. You could also share your iPhone or iPad with your student. For those of you who might want to write on the iPhone or iPad, of course, you could also share one of my favorite applications here, OneNote. We are going to come back to that application later. Now, many of you already probably have most of your lectures in PowerPoint presentation. That you may want to share with your students. My advice is this. If you really want to engage your student, the best way to do it is not to merely go over the PowerPoint slide. You need to go beyond simply going from slide to slide. If you do that, if that is all you do during your online presentation to your students, I guarantee you, your student will very easily lose concentration and probably lose interest, and you do not want that to happen. So my advice to you is, even if you do want to use your PowerPoint presentation in some kind of way, you also need to go beyond going from slide to slide. You need to be able to write as though you are in the classroom, writing on your chalkboard or whiteboard. Do as much writing as you can do, even if you are using a PowerPoint presentation. Now, for those of you who might want to use the whiteboard that comes with the Zoom platform, I do advise against this, because the whiteboard is not that user-friendly with regard to giving a presentation as though you are in the classroom writing on your whiteboard or chalkboard. It does not have the features that allows you to seamlessly go from page to page. So my advice to you is, this is not the best way to actually give your online lecture, particularly for those of you who are in the sciences, chemistry, physics, biology, mathematics, engineering. Now, there is also another very good feature of the Zoom platform in terms of sharing. And that is, if you go to the advanced sharing, which is right here, if you click on the advanced sharing, that takes you to this window here, to this window that we are looking at. And one option that is available here is the option that allows you to use two cameras. You could click on this, and then once you click on content from second camera, and then of course you click on share, that allows you to share content from two cameras. What you may want to do, one of the cameras may be focusing on you, so the student get a chance to see some of your body language, and the other camera could be focused on the whiteboard, on a whiteboard or chalkboard, such that you will be writing as though you are in the classroom. So one camera focusing on the chalkboard or whiteboard while you are writing, and the other camera focusing on you, so that the student will be able to see your body language. Another good thing about this feature is also the possibility of using a document camera. In other words, one camera may focus on you, while a document camera will focus on you writing on a piece of paper that will be projected on your computer screen. This might be convenient for some of you. Okay, so now let me go back to my favorite application to share on the Zoom platform. And that is sharing through the Microsoft 365 OneNote. You click on that, and then you click on share. What this does is to now open up for you the Microsoft Office 365 OneNote. Microsoft (365) OneNote. The OneNote is a very versatile application indeed. It allows you very seamlessly to go from page to page, to expand the page, to broaden the page. In other words, you could use the Microsoft OneNote as a whiteboard that has unlimited number of pages. I know some of you will say, well, in that regard, I will have to learn how to write on the computer screen. Yes, that is true. But this should not take you more than a few hours to do. Once you master the ability to write on the computer screen, believe me, this is a very, very valuable tool indeed. As you will see later in our discussion, I will use the Microsoft 365 OneNote to give a presentation in organic chemistry that simulates the classroom experience. So at this point, I would like to use what I call a featured molecule to give a presentation in organic chemistry, simulating the classroom experience, writing on the screen as though I am writing on the whiteboard or chalkboard in the classroom, while at the same time, if my students were here, I would be asking them questions and they would be asking me questions. And that takes me to another set of recommendations with regard to online presentation. When presenting online, there are three recommendations that I would like to make for those of you who teach online. The three recommendations. For effective online teaching. Indeed, I would say effective online teaching and learning. My first recommendation is that you must simulate classroom experience. Now, what do I mean by this? In the classroom, you are writing on the whiteboard or the chalkboard. You need to also do the same thing here. Not only are you writing on the screen for your student, in this case, using the Microsoft 365 OneNote, you are also expecting your student to take note as though they are in the classroom. You are writing, and your students are also writing, taking notes. And that way, you keep the student involved in the classroom session. And in as much as possible, get a chance to see the students through the video, so you get a chance to see some of their body language. And of course, they see some of your body language through your video also. So the first suggestion is, in as much as possible, you need to simulate the classroom experience by writing most everything you do on the computer screen as though you are writing in the classroom. My next suggestion, By the way, you folks, you see how seamlessly I go from one page of the OneNote to another. So my second suggestion is engage the students. You have to engage the students. How do you do this? By asking them questions, by giving them the opportunity to also ask you questions. You could ask them questions and then require that they respond to you through the chat window. And once in a while, any one of them that wants to ask a question, they could raise their hand electronically to ask questions through the audio system. You need to encourage that. And when you ask questions, my advice is do not ask questions of a particular student, because we do not want to embarrass any student, knowing fully well that the video may become public. So whatever question you ask, make sure you throw out the question to all of the students, and then expect all of the students, at least most of the students, to respond to your question through the chat window. My third advice, is that you must guide the student. Now, what do I mean by this? Now, for your online sessions, you must give clear guidelines for how you want to run the virtual classroom sessions. You must let them know you expect them to show up on time. Indeed, if they do not show up on time, you might give them a 15 minutes grace, that any student coming into your session after 15 minutes will be logged out of the class session. And this is possible using the Zoom platform. Zoom does allow you to lock your virtual classroom session at any time you wish to do so. So make it clear to the student you do expect some responsibility on their part, coming in on time. And that is why it is important for you to come in at least 30 minutes before the students arrive for your session. You must also let the students know that even though their mic will be on, you do not expect everybody to be talking on the mic at the same time. Anybody who wants to talk or ask you a question through the audio system, they need to raise their hand electronically, and then you could call on that particular student to pick up the mic and ask the question. So some of the guidelines, you need to set the parameters for your online session. And that is what I mean by give the student the proper guide. So at this point, let us now go to using an organic chemistry presentation to further demonstrate how you can use the Zoom platform in combination with Microsoft 365 OneNote to give an online lecture that simulates the classroom experience for both you and your students. Now, this is this molecule here, the molecule of Lyrica. Molecule of Lyrica right here, this molecule right here. Of course, the generic name for this molecule is called pregabalin. Lyrica is an anticonvulsant drug. Anticonvulsant drug. See here. In other words, it is used to manage the case of those who might suffer from epilepsy. Lyrica is also an anti-anxiety drug. Anti-anxiety drug agent. So it is a very important drug indeed. So we are going to, during the course of this presentation, show you how to synthesize this molecule in the laboratory. So we are going to go to the synthesis of Lyrica. Okay, as you can see here, using the Microsoft OneNote, very seamlessly, I could go from page to page. There is unlimited number of pages I could go to. Okay, so we want to start the synthetic process for this very important drug. We will start with a couple of organic molecules. Now, if I was teaching a live class with my students present online, I would throw this question out to them, ask them to give me the name of this molecule in order to engage them. Of course, this molecule is called malonic ester. So we are going to take malonic ester and react malonic ester with this molecule here, three-methyl butanol. So we take those two molecules we're going to react together in the presence of what we call a base, in this case, sodium methoxide. If I was in the classroom also, I will ask the student to give the name of this compound. So at this point, the malonic ester, which is this molecule here, will react with 3-methyl butanol, which is this molecule here, in the presence of sodium methoxide, which is this molecule here, to give this molecule right here. To give this molecule here, and then for the lack of a better name here, let us call this molecule that we have formed here, let us simply refer to this as a malonic ester derivative, this here. Let us simply say we take this malonic ester derivative, which is the product of the reaction between the methyl butanol and malonic ester. We are now going to react this malonic ester derivative with this molecule here. So at this point, I could also ask the student to give me the name of this molecule. Of course, this is nitromethane. The nitromethane in the presence of a base, let us say we are going to use as our base, once again, sodium methoxide, just like we did in the first reaction right here. And you see what I will do here? I will simply now slide the page to the right so that I could continue my synthetic reactions. Okay, so the nitromethane, which is right here, reacting with our malonic ester derivative right here, that will give this product. So let us simply refer to this product here as a nitro compound. Okay, so now we now get this new product here, which we call nitro compound. So now we're going to take this nitro compound. At this point, what we want to do, we want to convert this nitro group, this group right here, into an amino group. In other words, we want to replace the 2 oxygen atom with 2 hydrogen atom. So in that process, we refer to as hydrogenation. So we are going to embark on a catalytic hydrogenation. This point, in order to make this easy for me, I will slide this page up. Okay. So we are going to perform hydrogenation using hydrogen in the presence of palladium as a catalyst. So hydrogen in the presence of palladium as a catalyst in order to perform the hydrogenation. And what do we get? We are going to obtain I know some of you might be wondering, where is the rest of the synthetic scheme? Don't worry, I will bring everything back into focus. So you see the complete synthetic scheme. Okay, and now we are going to get remember I told you that we want to turn the nitro group into an amino group. So now we have replaced the 2 oxygen atom with 2 hydrogen atom, and the rest of the molecule is still here. So at this point, we have one more step to go. One more step to go. And that is, we are going to take dilute acid. See, I am writing as though I am in the classroom, writing on the chalkboard or the whiteboard. And while I am doing this, I will also expect my students to be writing, taking notes. Indeed, you may even want to give them some kind of incentive for note taking. Perhaps in your curriculum, you might tell the students about 5 to 10% of the grade will be assigned to proper note taking. In other words, you want to encourage them, give them some kind of incentive to come to class virtually and take note, write note, just as you are writing on the chalkboard or whiteboard, they also should be writing. That keeps their interest, that keeps them engaged, involved. Indeed, they will be more prone to ask more questions when they do that. So at this point, we have the dilute acid will react with, let us call this here, this intermediate that we form, let us refer to this as the amino compound. So the hydrolysis of the amino compound will yield very interesting chemistry. Okay, let me move this again so I can create more space to write. The hydrolysis of the amino intermediate product, this here, the hydrolysis will convert this part of the molecule to a carboxyl group, and that carboxyl group will subsequently be removed or expelled or spit out from the rest of the molecule in form of carbon dioxide. Okay, so let us see what we get as the final product, which is our pregabalin molecule, which is our Lyrica. Okay, so what do we have here? Final product. We have this here. This becomes a carboxyl group. And this here, you notice I am using different colors to show the source of the carbon skeleton. Like I told you before, this part of the molecule here will be expelled from the rest of the molecule in form of carbon dioxide. Okay, but that is not the molecule of interest to us at this point. The molecule of interest to us is the Lyrica, which is our final product. Or pregabalin. Okay, so now let us now bring everything back to focus. So you see the complete synthetic scheme. Okay, let us see the generic name for this, of course. Let's see here. Pregabalin. That is the generic name for this Lyrica drug. Okay, so let us see now. Bring everything into focus. So we can see the complete synthetic scheme. Okay. Now you see the beauty of using Microsoft 365 OneNote. It allows you very seamlessly to write on the computer screen. I know some of you will say, well, I find it difficult writing on the screen. All you need is a stylus. You can see the stylus in my hand right here. This stylus here costs about $2 to $3 US. And it takes less than 2 hours to learn to write on the computer screen. Once you learn to do that, everything becomes a piece of cake. Just open your Microsoft Office OneNote 365 into the Zoom platform, and then just write as though you are in the classroom, writing on the chalkboard or the whiteboard. Even better still than being in the classroom, you have unlimited number of pages. You could expand your page, broaden your page, do whatever you want with that page in order to give your online lecture. And of course, while you're doing that, you are also expecting your student to write and take good notes. And like I said before, you may want to give them some kind of incentive for good note taking. Okay, so this is the synthesis of Lyrica. And Lyrica, of course, is the anti-convulsant drug or anti-anxiety drug. This drug is very useful for those people who suffer from epilepsy. So at this point, we have almost come to the end of our presentation today. I hope I've been able to convince you that you could actually give a lecture online to your students live, in other words, synchronously, using the Zoom platform in combination with the Microsoft 365 OneNote. Now, before I leave, let me give credit let me see, I would like to give credit to my source of the synthesis of Lyrica. Okay, let us see here. See if I can get the source here. Okay, see if I can give some credit. Let me go back to sharing. Okay, I would like to give some credit to this journal publication, from where I got most of the synthetic scheme that I shared with you. This is the material was likely from the European Journal of Organic Chemistry. I did make a few adaptations to their synthetic scheme, as you can see here. So anyway, I do want to acknowledge this publication. And so now we have come to the end of today's presentation. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation as much as I have enjoyed giving it to you. And keep in mind, whenever you want to teach in line, your students come first. Your students should be the center of your universe as a teacher. In other words, everything you do it so that you make learning very easy for them, make learning very comfortable for them. Because without the students, there will be no teacher. Without the students, there will be no universities. So until I see you again, I say so long.